There was a beggar who lived at a city's railway station. He survived by asking for alms from passengers traveling on passing trains. One day, while he was begging, he noticed a tall man dressed in a suit and tie. The beggar thought to himself, "This man looks very wealthy. If I ask him for alms, he will surely give me good money." So he went up to the tall man and began begging. Looking at the beggar, the tall man said, "Do you always ask from others? Have you ever given anything to someone?" The beggar replied, "Sir, I am a beggar. I only ask from people. I don't have the status or ability to give anything to anyone." The tall man said, "If you cannot give anything to others, then you have no right to ask for anything either. I am a businessman, and I believe only in exchange. If you have something to give me, only then can I give you something in return." After saying this, the tall man boarded the train and left. The beggar was left thinking deeply about what the man had said. Those words settled into his heart. He began to think, maybe this is why I never receive much money while begging, because I give nothing in return. But then he thought, I am a beggar. What could I possibly give to anyone? Still, he wondered, how long will I keep asking from people without giving anything back? After thinking for a long time, the beggar made a decision. He decided that whoever gave him alms, he would give something in return. But the question troubled him. What could a beggar give? 2 days passed, and he still had no answer. On the third day, while sitting near the station, his eyes fell upon some flowers blooming on plants around the station. He thought, why don't I give flowers in return for alms? He liked the idea. He picked some flowers and went to beg on the train. Now, whenever someone gave him alms, he would give them a few flowers in return. People happily accepted the flowers and kept them with joy. Every day, the beggar picked flowers and distributed them in exchange for alms. After a few days, he noticed something surprising. More and more people were giving him money. As long as he had flowers, people kept giving him alms. But when the flowers ran out, the money stopped too. This continued daily. One day, while begging, he noticed the same tall man sitting on the train, the one who had inspired him to give flowers in exchange. The beggar immediately went to him and said, "Today I have something to give you. If you give me alms, I will give you some flowers in return." The tall man gave him some money, and the beggar handed him flowers. The tall man smiled and said, "Wonderful. Today you've become a businessman just like me." After saying this, he got off at his station with the flowers. Once again, the man's words settled deeply into the beggar's heart. He felt extremely happy. His eyes sparkled. He felt as if he had finally found the key to success that could change his life. He got off the train, looked up at the sky, and shouted loudly, "I am not a beggar. I am a businessman. I can become rich too." People watching thought he had gone mad. From the next day onward, the beggar was never seen at that station again. 6 months later, 2 men dressed in suits were traveling through the same station. They noticed each other, and one of them extended his hand and said, "Do you recognize me?" The other man replied, "No, I don't think we've met before." The first man smiled and said, "No, this is not our first meeting. This is actually our third." The second man looked confused and said, "I don't remember. When did we meet before?" The first man smiled and said, "We met twice on this very train. I was the beggar to whom you first explained what I should do in life. And during our second meeting, you told me who I truly was." The second man smiled in surprise and said, "Oh yes, now I remember. You're the same beggar I once refused to give alms to, and the same one from whom I later bought flowers. But today, where are you going in a suit? And what do you do now?" The first man replied, "Yes, I am the same beggar. But today, I am a large flower merchant. I am traveling to another city for my business." After a brief pause, he continued, "In our first meeting, you taught me the law of nature, that we receive only when we give. The rule of exchange truly works. I experienced it deeply, but I always thought of myself as a beggar. I never imagined anything greater. When we met the second time, you told me that I had already become a businessman. That's when I realized I was no longer a beggar. I was a trader. I understood why people were giving me so much money. They weren't giving me charity. They were paying for the flowers. They were buying my flowers, because where else could they get flowers cheaper than that? To them, I was a small merchant. But in my own eyes, I was still a beggar. After your words, I realized who I truly was. With the money I earned from selling flowers on the train, I bought more flowers and became a flower merchant. People here love flowers, and their love turned me into a successful flower trader. Both businessmen were happy. They got off at the station together and walked forward, discussing their businesses. Friends, this story teaches us a powerful lesson. The tall businessman understood the rule of give and take. All successful people in the world follow this rule of life. He shared this formula with the beggar. The beggar accepted this natural law, and its impact clearly changed his life. He changed his thinking, and his life changed. This story teaches us that if we change our mindset, we can achieve anything. If we keep thinking small, we will remain small. To become big, we must think big. The essence of this story is simple. Success is hidden in your thinking.